Okay friends, welcome to EasyCoding with Ammara once again, and in the previous video I will tell you how you can insert and how you can retrieve the data from the SqLite database, and now in this video I will tell you how you can delete the data and how you can update the data from the SqLite database. Okay, so before starting, first of all I will tell you this is my website, and inside this website I upload almost all the code, and you will see this type of category section, and inside this section there are different codes related to different programming languages. So I provide the link in the description box. You will see this. Okay, also I upload the previous video code here, so if you want this code you can get the code from this website. Now let's open the Android Studio. So this is the project where we are working, SqLite database tutorial, and inside this project I create some classes, and in the previous video I create this retrieve data class, and now what I am going to do is first I open this, and you will see this type of data. The data is retrieved from the SqLite database, and now when someone click on this, I want to update the data, so I want to create this type of dialog box. Okay, so I am going to create this type of dialog box. So I create a function here. So the name of the function is open alert box, and I pass key, name and email when I call this function. Right now open this brackets, and I return show alert dialog box from here. And inside this show alert dialog box I pass the context and create this builder method, and inside these brackets I simply returns the alert dialog box, and inside this alert dialog I am going to design the alert dialog. And now first I am going to give some color to this dialog box. So you will see that the color of the dialog box is transparent, and after that I am going to give some radius. So you will see this type of radius from here. So by writing this code, first I change the color of the dialog box, and after that I use the attribute shape, and inside this shape attribute I give the radius of 32. Okay, if you want to change you will write here, like if you want to give the 10, 20, it's up to you. And after that inside the content section I am going to create a container, and first I am going to give the border of the container white, and you will see that the border of the container is not round. Okay, so first I give the color white, and after that I am going to change the radius of this container to 32. So that's why both the shapes are equal. Okay, so here I use the decoration attribute like this, and inside this attribute I simply give the border color which is white, and after that I apply the border radius. Okay, so both radius are equal, so that's why you will see that here only one border. So if you change this border to something else, then both have different shapes. And the next step is I am going to give this width. So if you want to change width, then you will apply here. So I apply the width of container 300, and now I am going to create a column here. So you will see that here the data is vertically. So if you want to store the data vertical, then you use the column, and if you want to show the data horizontally, then use the then you use the row. So I want to show the data like this, so that's why I am going to use column here. And inside this column, first I am going to give some space like this, and after that I am going to create this text view, and then again give some space, and then use this divider line. So this is a divider. So first write the children attribute, and inside I write this code. This code is for giving the some space. Okay, so first I am going to give some space like 10, and after that I write the text, but I write the text inside this align class because I want to show the text in the center, and for the alignment of text I use this align class. And after that I set this update record and size and font family and color. So this is very simple. And in the next step I am going to create this line divider. So here first I give some space like this. So I again use this size box and give some space like 15, and after that I draw a line and set the thickness of line, color and height. Okay, so now I am going to create this type of text field. So you will see that this data is coming from the database, and I show the data here. So if user wants to remove this data and write some other name, he will do it easily. And if the user did not want to remove this name and write something with it like this, so he will did this easily. And after that you will see that this type of update name. So this is the hint. I write the hint and I set the color of hint white, and also you will see the cursor color. So you will see that the color of the cursor is also blue. Okay, so all the things is easy, and now I will show you how I can do this. So here I create this text, and you will see that the first line, by using this line I get the data of the user. So this is the name attribute which is coming from here. Okay, and I pass the name when I call this open alert box function. Okay, so don't worry. So I assign this name. So when the user click on some specific item, so like this, if user click on this list view, so the name inside this list view is passing here. Okay, and all the data like its key and also its email. And suppose if there are some other data, like I am going to store some data first. And click on this register button, and now click on this icon. So you will see that this is the Maham and this is the Ammara. So whenever user click on some specific item, so if I click on this, you will see the data related to Maham is here. So like this, when user click on some specific item, the data of that node of that item is passing in this function. Okay, so let's suppose the name of Maham is stored inside in this variable Maham, inside this name variable, and I assign this name variable to this text, and after that I pass this text to this name variable. Okay, so by default when user click on this on change, the data inside this text is passed to this name variable. Okay, so what happened if user did not click on the text? So that's why I use this controller. So first time when user did not click on the text, we assign this name to the text, and this text is shown in the text field. So by default, by using this code, I show the name of the user inside this text field. Okay, and after that when user writes something inside this text field, the data is stored to the name variable. So I am going to create this name variable inside this function. Also I create the email. And after that I change the color of the cursor, and I change the color of the text. After that I apply some decoration, and inside this decoration first I write the hint text, which is update name, set the hint color, and after that I remove the border of the input, and then I apply the maximum line, which is 1. So you will see when I click on this, this is one line code, and you will see here there is no option for the next line. Okay, so if you want to give multiple lines like 2, 3, 4, and if you write 2 lines here, then you will see here there is an option for the next line. Okay, so if you want to give, you can use here. And now I am going to create another text field for the email, which is very similar to this code. So I paste the code for the list view. So you will see this code is for the list view, and I write whole code similar to above code. And after that I am going to create this type of button. And for button I write this code here. So I simply create a container, give some padding from top and bottom. After that I apply the color, and you will see here inside this update dialog box, this is the left and right padding. Sorry, this is the left and right border. So that's why I apply the border of left and right like 32. And after that I simply create the text for the submit button and write some color, font size and font family, and then set this color to the center. And now I simply cut this container from here, and first I implement this class, which detects when someone click on it. And inside this child I write the code of that container. And now when someone click on this button, sorry, here I write the onTab method, and inside this onTab method, when someone click on this method, I update the data to the database. So I call a method from here, and after that I close that dialog box. Okay, so this is the method, and inside this method I pass key, name and email, and after that I simply close the dialog box by writing this code. And now first I am going to call this method, this open alert dialog box. So simply first I cut the whole code from here. So, and write this class here. And paste that code. And now write onTab method here. And call that dialog box. So you will see that I pass the key, name and email from here. And now I am going to create that function, which is update function. Okay. So now I am going to create this function. But before creating this function here, first I am going to create the update function in a database helper class, which update the data. So this function is very simple. I pass the row from this class, which is retrieve data. So from this retrieve data class, when I call this update class, I pass a row, and inside that row I store the key, name and email of the user, which I am going to update. Okay, so after that, by using this row, I fetch the column ID from this row. So it simply means that the ID which is stored inside this row is now stored in this ID. And after that, I update that row inside this table where the ID, column ID is equals to this ID. Okay. So this is very simple. The code is updated where the column ID is equals to this ID, which is coming from this row, and this row is coming from this retrieved data. And after that, when the row is updated, it simply returns the ID. And when it returns the ID, if we want to use that ID inside this code, so we can use the code, we can use the ID. Okay. So now let's create that update function and pass that row inside this update function. So you will see that this type of code for the update, and I pass key, name and email from this when I call it. So now first I store all the key and name and email of the user which he updated in this row, and after that I call the update function which I have created now in this database helper class and simply pass this row. Okay, so you will see I pass this row inside this update function. So inside this update function all the data is updated where ID is equals to the user ID, and after that it returns the ID. So you will see that here I store the ID inside this rows affected variable, and after that I simply show this toast. Sorry, this is not a toast, this is a simple print message, and which when I run this code, it shows this message here. Okay. So this is the work for updation of the data in the SqLite database. Now let's run this code and show the output. But one thing which is very important here, if this variable, if any one of this variable, which is name, email and key, if any of the variable is null, then the data is not updated and it show the error. Okay. So if any of the data is null, the data is not stored. And if we scroll up, and I will show one thing here. So here you will see that inside this email variable I assign this text, but this method is called, this onChange method is only called when user writes something in the text field. So think what happened if user did not write anything to the text field, which means that if I open this dialog box, okay, and I open this dialog box and I did not do anything here and click on this submit button. So in that case, this onChange function is not called, and then the data is not stored inside this email, and in that case the email is null. And if the email is null, and when user click on this submit button, the data is null, and then SqLite give you error. So for that reason, first I am going to initialize this email and password. So for that, what I am going to do is, here I initialize name by using this name, which is coming from the database, and inside this email I initialize this email which is coming from the database. Okay, so if user did not write something here, which means that user did not want to update the data and click on submit button, then in that case the data, this data is again stored inside its place. Okay, so now I run this code. So now the app is restarted and I will show you the output. So you will see that this type of data, and when I click on this card, you will see this type of update record dialog box. But the size of this dialog box is not good, and you will also see that this type of button. So first let's improve this. So first we have to set the main axis size of this column to the mini. So you will see that here is a column and here is an attribute main axis size. And after that, if you want to make this button expand, then you have to use here to cross axis alignment dot stretch. Now again run this code. and the app is restarted. And now let's check this. Now you will see that the size of this column is mini, and this is also stretched. The button is also stretched, and this is the by default data. Now I want to update this data. I write Maham here and then click on this submit. And you will see that here updated one row, but you have to refresh this row. That's why you will see the name is updated successfully. And if you want to change the email, like here CON, I remove N and write M here and click on submit. You will see that updated row, and also you refresh this page and you will see that is COM now. Also, if you want to update the password of the user, then you have to create another text field here and update the password in the same way like this, name and email. Okay. So now I am going to tell you how you can delete the data from the SqLite database. So for that, I am also going to create another function for the delete here. And also you will see the layout of the delete button. So I am going to create this type of delete button. Sorry, delete dialog box. Okay. So this is the dialog new function name. And inside this function, I pass context and key. So if user want to delete this item from here, then I pass this key to this function. Okay. And similarly, if user want to delete this node, then I pass this key to here. That's why by using this key, I delete the data from the database. First, I declare a variable here, which type is alert dialog box. And after that, I am going to design button. So these two buttons, okay. So these two buttons are designed separately. First, I design this button, and after that, I design this button. So the first button is no button, and inside this button you will see that I create a container, give the color, give height and width, and after that I set a center class, and inside this center class I create a variable which is no and give some styling which is very easy and basic. And after that, when someone click on this no button, I simply close this dialog box. Okay, so by writing this code, I'll close the dialog box if user click on this no button. And this is on press method, and we write like this. And also if you want to use the bracket, you can use that brackets, but I use here simply this method. And after that, I am going to create another button which is for yes button. And if user click on this yes button, then I simply delete the data. And the yes button is very similar to no button. All the designing is like that. And this is the same code which I discussed in the no button. And after that, you will see here in onPress method, first I call a function which is delete function. Okay, and I am going to create this function. And after that, when user click on this yes button, first this function is called to delete the data, and after that the window is disappear. Okay, so for removing the dialog box, I write the code here for dismiss the dialog box. And after that, now I am going to create this design and set the title, set the content, and set these two buttons in the dialog box. For that, I write this code here, and inside this code, this is very simple. I create this alert variable above. So you will see that I create this alert variable here, and after that I create an alert dialog class, and inside this first I set the color and then make some shape, like I give the radius to curve the borders like 15, and after that I give the title, which is delete data, and give some styling, and after that I write the content, and in the content I write, do you want to delete the data, and set this color. And after that I set the actions, which is our yes and no buttons, and so that you will see that here the button are horizontally. So if you want to write this button horizontally, then you have to create a row, and if you want to set this button vertically, then you have to write the columns. Okay, so I want to show these buttons in horizontal way, that's why I create a row, and inside that row simply I pass the first button, which is OK, and you will see that I store this flat button inside this variable, which is no button, and this type is widget. Also I store this yes button in OK variable, so that's why I pass this OK button, and after that I give some space. So if you want to give the space horizontally, then you have to use the width attribute here, and after that I pass the other button, which is no button. Okay, and now I simply show this dialog box, and if you want to show this dialog box, then you have to write this code, which is show dialog box, and in that I pass simply context and return this alert dialog box, and this alert is this alert, and the context is coming from here, and when I call this dialog new function, then I pass the context and the key. And now I am going to create this delete function, and you will see that in this delete function I pass the key, which is coming from here, and I pass this key when I call this dialog new function. So now first I am going to create this delete function, but you know that first we have to create a delete function in our database helper class. So let's open and create a delete function here, which is very easy, and we simply use the key of the user. So you will see that here in this function I simply get the ID, and by using this ID I delete the whole row. So in this table where the ID is equals to this user ID, delete the row, and after the row is deleted, it returns the ID from where it's called. Okay, so now I am going to create this delete function here. So, and now you will see that I simply pass the delete function of this DB class, which is the instance of this database helper class. Okay, so I call the delete function, which I created inside this class, and pass the ID, this ID. So it pass the ID inside this function, and this function deletes the data and then returns the ID which it deleted, and store that ID inside this rows deleted, and after that I simply print the message that the row is deleted. Okay, so in this code I delete the data and simply show a print message in this run screen. So now I am going to call this method, which is dialog new, and you will see that I call the update method here in on tab. So when someone on tab on this card, this method is running, and now I am going to override here another method, which is on long press, and inside this method I am going to call this, and you would remove this. So I only pass the context and the key, and you will know that our key is stored in the list. So sorry, I think I did some mistake. So I write the code in the alert function. Sorry, remove this function from here. So this is the function which I write in the card view. So when someone long click on the card, this function is run. So this is the card view. Paste this function here and write index. So when someone click on some specific card, the key of that child is passed from this function. And if I click on this node, which is Ammara, then 6 is passed from here, and if I click on this node, then 7 is passed from this function. So like it worked, and now I think whole code is done, and I am going to run this code to show you output. So the app is restarted, and now I open the app, which is SqLite database, and now open this, and you will see this type of node. And now when I long click on it, you will see this type of dialog box. And if you want to delete no, if you don't want to delete, then click on no. You will see the dialog box is disappear. And if you want to delete, then click on yes. So you will see delete one row. So now click on back and refresh the page. So you will see the data is deleted successfully. So if you like this video, please like, comment and subscribe my channel, and do share with your friends. See you soon. Allah Hafiz.